It is. It's Monday, October 8th. I am Mark Stewart Greenstein, and I'm a happy Mark Stewart Greenstein. Welcome to the Daily Fire. So I'm happy because the Australia gun experiment has been debunked, that the efficacy of a gun ban countrywide has made such a big impact on the safety of Australians. Well, new study showing that it really hasn't made much of an impact. And we'll talk about why it wouldn't in the first place. The other reason I'm happy about it is it was an international story published in the Current. That is not your typical place to find pro-conservative news. So maybe they're coming around. Why will Australians never completely give up their guns? Because the gun is the greatest defensive weapon ever invented for personal defense. Okay? It is the equalizer that allows fewer women to be raped, that allows fewer people to suffer mayhem, that allows fewer armed robberies. It hurts the predator, and more importantly, it deters the predator in the first place. Absent personal defense of handheld weapons, we don't have that. Now it goes to the thug, who may be just physically stronger. That gives him the advantage. Or maybe himself armed with a gun and doesn't care to turn it into the authorities. That too has happened in Australia. Even friendly Australia has confiscated at most 70% of the guns. That's 30% still out there, not registered, and potentially used for mayhem. Once again, the main reason is to be used for defense. These Australians don't want to give up their last line of defense because they know what Americans should be knowing, that the police cannot be everywhere to protect you. And you wouldn't want a police force that is so omnipresent. You want good guys with guns, trained, background checked. You want them to protect your community in concert with police, but as the defense that criminals respect. Let me apply that to schools. I am a big fan of choice in schools for a lot of reasons. Whether to have guns that can be accessed by school officials, or whether to have some marshals that are inside schools or outside schools, whether to maybe even have students themselves with access, which in rural areas where people are well trained, I trust the well-trained civilian and a population that knows how to respect weaponry more than I trust a society that is void of defensive weaponry. Why are all shootings, big shootings, in gun-free zones? Because even the criminals know they're intent on mayhem. They can get away with it. And just hypothetically, have you ever seen or heard about a mass shooting in a police precinct? Why not? Okay? Armed policemen are at least as odious as innocent school children. Okay? As possible victims to some deranged person, you'd think they would go after the man, the authority, wearing a badge. And why don't they? Because he's also wearing a gun. And in a police precinct, the guy intent on mayhem doesn't get far. Even the maniac knows this. I'd like to simply extend the armed presence to schools that want it, and choice in schools should still reign. Yes, there will be some districts and some schools whose boards say, nope, we don't want to have any part of it. And I pray that the mayhem-infused person doesn't get word of it. Others will protect their kids by having some sort of presence that deters mayhem in the first place. Please think about that if somebody's asking your community to cede their right to self-defense. Now, if you get a buyback program, your city says, we will pay you for your weapon. Consider taking it and using the money to buy another weapon that's better. Okay, just my advice. I'm Mark Stewart Greenstein. Thank you. I got your back. Thanks for having me on.